Good morning, everybody. This is Pastor Darrell from The Quest, coming to you from Galesburg, Illinois. We'll wait just a minute, let a couple people jump on here with us, but ask you again to bear with me. If you live in this area, you understand that this time of year the weather's so unpredictable, and it just affects my sinuses, my voice all the time. I'm going to go ahead and get started here, but I was talking with one of my friends, been a friend for a long, long time, and going through some situations. I won't go into that, it's personal, but he was asking me, so, he didn't understand the delays of God, and it got me to thinking about, there's people have said many times that God answers yes, no, and wait. And I've had countless people tell me, oh, God doesn't ever ask you to wait. Well, I beg to differ with you. I think sometimes he does. It's like, I like to say God put you on hold. I got to thinking, though, in Romans, if I've never said it before, Romans is my absolute favorite chapter or book of the Bible. People have asked me, if you could keep one book, what it would be, and it would be the book of Romans. A lot of people would argue why not one of the Gospels. Well, for another day, but let me just say everything you need to know is found in the book of Romans. But in Romans chapter 12, just a portion of a verse there says, be patient in times of trouble and prayerful always. I don't have to tell you, we live in a fast-paced, rushed, hurried-up world. And along with that, we as people have become restless. We've become a people who expect instant gratification in every area of our lives, and it's like, I'm old enough that I remember my brother owned one of the very first microwaves. They were called radar ranges at that time. And we used to be in such amazement to go down there and put a hot dog in there and cook that thing. And I'll be honest, they came out like rubber, but it was just an amazing thing to it. But my point is, that was in the 70s where they came out with radar ranges, microwaves. Nowadays, we'll stand in front of the microwave thinking it's taking too long. And it can do in a matter of minutes what used to take 20 to 30 minutes or longer to do. We have just become such a rushed, give it to me now society. We've been called, rightfully so, the microwave generation, because we charge through life full speed like we're on fire or something, and we do everything at breakneck speed. And if we be honest, we get that way with God. We expect things from God right now. We want things, if not now, we wanted it yesterday. But can I tell you, God has his own timetable. There have been times that I've seen God do things so quickly, so that I was just amazed. But I've seen other times that God just kept saying, just patience, patience, and all of a sudden, boom, it happens. But God has a timetable, and you need to understand, I need to understand, I'm still working on this. You can't rush God's timetable. So when he puts you on hold, when God has you in that position that he's not saying no, but you're on hold, there's some things that we need to learn, and that's what I want to talk about just for a couple of minutes. As I said, I came up with a lot of this in talking with my friend the other day. It's things I've known many, many years, things I've learned the hard way. But I don't think I'd ever really put them down into words. And one of the first things is simply this: watch your words. I think there are some people who go way too far with positive confession. But I want to tell you, there is something about positive confession. What you speak is powerful. And you need to be careful with your words, because just like the rudder on a small little rudder on a big old ship, that little rudder determines the destination of that ship. Well, I'm going to tell you something. The Bible talks about the tongue, and it's like our rudder. And that tongue of yours will decide the right destination, the wrong destination, detours, because we say things. We allow things to infiltrate our minds because of words we say out of our frustration. Let me put it that way. We get frustrated, we get impatient, and so we say things, and we'll find ourselves even saying, well, I don't think God even cares. Well, God does care. God knows the end from the beginning, and so he's trying to work things out in our life. I don't remember who it was, but somebody once said these words. I've jotted it down in the back of one of my Bibles. Excuse me. It says, "My mind is a garden. My thoughts are the seeds. My harvest will either be flowers or weeds." What that tells is how we think, what we say, are seeds. You're planting seeds. So watch your words, and we need to ask God to help us not only with our words, but help us with our emotions. Because can I tell you that emotions are one of the most devastating things, or one of the most blessed things. You can let your emotions run away with you. Long time ago, when I was just in my early 20s, I had a Catholic priest say something to me that I have held on to and never let go of. He said, "Daryl, you either master your emotions or your emotions will master you. If you don't learn how to control your emotions, they will dictate your life for you." And that could be any number of emotions. I don't really have time in this little nugget today to go into that, but you need to ask God, help me to control my emotions. Paul says, excuse me, be glad for all that God is planning. Be patient in trouble and prayerful always. See, when we complain, when we get upset and our emotions take over our words and we start complaining, the vast majority of the time all we do is magnify the problem, make it far worse than it used to be, or what it would have been in the first place. And I've discovered that prayer will take my negative energy and turn it into a powerful force for good. When you're emotionally upset, distraught, pray. Pray without ceasing. That's what the Bible tells us. Sometimes we need to look for humor. That's another point that I want to jump on real quick. People criticize me often. They say, "Man, you joke too much." Well, I've learned to get through life by laughing at it. You know, I went to prison and laughed my way through it. One of my good friends, he tunes into some of these. He may choose to chime in, he may not. We got in trouble a couple times in prison because there we were in prison. It would come rain and it would get, the ditches over flooding and the ground be a muddy mess. And we would put on a pair of shorts and go out and slide on our bellies in the mud into the ditch. And guards would often grab us up and threaten to throw us into segregation because we were having fun. Well, prison or not, I learned to make fun of it. And I'm telling you, you can choose to have fun in the worst of situations, and you can make fun of your situation even when it's bad. I remember just a couple of years ago, my brother-in-law was in a hospital dying, and some of the last things that he did with me was crack jokes, because that was JT's way of doing things. Laughter dispels tension. Solomon said it this way: "He who is of a merry heart has a continual feast." He who has a merry heart has a continual feast. Learn to look for humor in your situation. Laughter, again, will release the tensions. It will lighten your heart, and it will fill your heart with joy in the times of distress. Appreciate and learn through your situations. That's another one. Learn from your mess. I'm going to say it's probably the most frustrating thing I've dealt with as a pastor is watching people go through the same thing again and again and again. Why? Because they never learned. Look at your situation, look at your mess, and determine, I'm not going back here. Let me go back to prison again. I will never forget the first day after I was sentenced and they took me to the penitentiary. This was just about 2 weeks after my sentencing, actually. I promise you, I walked through the gates of that place and there was a clang that only a few people can appreciate from the sound of those gates. I turned and looked at them and I said, with God as my help, I will never come back here again. That was in 1981. I did my time and I've been out and I've never done anything again because I learned from my situation. You don't have to keep repeating. The recidivism rate for prisoners is ridiculous, but it's not just prisoners. People in everyday life do the same silly, I'm going to call it as it is, stupid things again and again and again because they never Learn from them. Solomon said, the diligent make use of everything. You may be walking through hell right now. You may be going through a terrible situation. Be diligent. Learn from this so that you don't have to go back and repeat it again. Learn from the experiences regardless of how bad it is, how sad it is, how much it hurts you. Learn from it and remember, from the world's greatest discoveries and breakthroughs come through crisis. When we go through these messes, we can learn and alter our destination. Remember that problems, I'm hesitant to say this, but I'm going to say it. Problems are almost always caused by people. And people under pressure tend to lash out. We do that and others do that. Now, the reason I bring that up is we need to learn to be patient with others, because somebody else is under pressure and they do something dumb, they do something that ticks us off. We tend to attack. We need to remember something. We all make mistakes. We all screw up. I'm sorry if that word language is offensive to some, just get over it. Nobody's beyond redemption. Get that. Nobody is beyond redemption. Some people would say, oh, they're just a total waste, and they're just wasting good air, and they just need to die and get life over with and get out of the way. Nobody is beyond redemption as long as they're alive. Thank God for that, because you and I would be in a mess if it wasn't for redemption in our life. The bottom line is this: we all make mistakes. Learn grace. Learn to forgive. Aren't you glad God offered you grace? He offered you mercy. Offer that to somebody else. Learn from your mistakes. Laugh at your mistakes. Grow from your mistakes, and you don't have to go there again. Sometimes God places it on hold. Sometimes we're in a place of hold because of our own doing, and we have to wait it out. Aren't you glad that God gave us a mind that we can think, learn, and grow with? Paul said it this way: overcome evil with good. It's in Romans chapter 12, verse 21. Be courteous. Maintain dignity when you're under pressure, and extend grace to others. I hope that really helps somebody today. God bless you. You come back and see me again tomorrow at the Quest.